Uh, Let's see, public comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the minutes. We have the July, I think it was July 26th or July something. Oh, before we start, I have to read that thing. Hold on. Okay, well, we just have to read this at the start of the meetings. Just for the public, anybody watching the copy. This meeting will be recorded and may air live. All attendees are muted upon entry. The host will unmute guests during the presentation, hearing, or citizen comment agenda item. Questions during the meeting can be submitted in the chat area to be addressed by the chair. Attendees not adhering to the guidelines may be put on hold or removed by the host. Now we'll go on to the minutes. Sorry about that. So we have 2 sets of minutes. And
Yeah, I'll move to accept the, let's see, accept the July 22nd as submitted.
okay, second.
I'll second that, Steve Rogan.
Okay, any discussion?
I didn't find any issues with it.
Thank you, Carlton. Okay, all in favor of the motion to accept the minutes of July 22nd?
Has to be a roll call vote.
Roll
Yep.
call.
Yep,
All right, Gina,
yes.
Carlton,
Yo,
Steve,
Yes.
Harry,
yes.
Jean.
Yes.
Minutes were approved. Thank you.
Okay. And we have August 12th minutes. That was a special meeting.
I move to accept it with one amendment, and I'll give you the amendment. I believe down in the Carlton motion to discuss the elements that should be funded by CPC, Harry seconded the motion, then it was approved, and then I withdrew the motion, and it stated that William Smith seconded it. It had to be Harry, and if I recall, it was Harry.
Okay,
William Smith needs to be, in that paragraph, needs to be changed to Harry Bailey. That's my motion. Accept it with an amendment to replace William Smith in the second paragraph with Harry Bailey.
Second.
okay. Okay, discussion on that.
No, just what I said, just we need to correct the record.
Okay, hearing none, all in favor of the motion to accept the minutes? Right, with the correction that Carlton made.
Okay.
Okay,
Gina,
yes,
Carlton,
No,
Steve,
Yes.
Yes.
Harry. Harry. Okay. Jean,
Yes.
Phil. So it looks like you're muted. I'm going to try to unmute you. Just requested to unmute you, though.
Okay. I didn't hear the motion, so I'll have to abstain. Sorry. I just joined. I had some trouble here.
Okay, no problem. All right, thank you.
Okay. Okay, I just answered your email with the link to the bill.
Okay.
Okay, the financial update, Josh had sent out when was it? June 30th. We also had, I'm looking, Josh, did you send out I think we had a newer one than that. let me just search for Laurie, hold on. Laurie also sent us, we had asked for a different way, well, to do the reports that way, but also to show all the payments, money that was expended, money that was in, and she did give us that. Yeah, I guess it was 6:30. So we have that, and it looks like either I'm not seeing it for what was sent out to you, and it could be there. I'm just missing it. Did everybody see the detailed report on what was paid to who?
I have it.
Okay.
I saw it.
Okay, good.
That doesn't include the FY21 allocation, right?
Right. This is the detailed report goes until, I think this is all just FY20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. We don't receive that money right away as soon as the fiscal year starts. It's not like magic that it appears in our account, but we will get it. Any questions on the detailed expenditures?
I looked at it and I don't know why there were two. Do we pay twice yearly? Because there's at the last line, 591586, it shows two draws, March of 20 and September of 19. And I'm assuming that that means we pay on a semi-annual basis, so twice a year.
I think we do, Carlton, but I can follow up with Laurie for that.
And then we have the academy renovations for Unibank. It's, I only saw one. Well, I saw three draws there, 318, 318. They're twice.
Okay, one is the interest.
No, it's the same value, 63. Oh, I see, it's the interest.
Right,
Okay.
one is the interest, one is the principal.
Well, here it says,
That's the same.
let me read. There's 591086, Academy Building renovations, $240,000, due 5/3/20. And then down at the bottom is 591586, 63,300, 69,300. And then there's another repeat of that, 69,300. Are those interest payments? My point is, it's not clear what we're paying for there.
Okay, let me jump back to the other report, because that one, I think she has the account numbers. Hold on.
Where the heck did that go?
Yeah, in this report, it says 591586. It says Academy Building interest, $138,000. So maybe the 69,600.
Okay,
I see
the
it there now.
principal, their account, they call it an object, I call it account, but the 59, for the Academy Building, 591086 is for 240,000 is the principal.
No, 240,000 is the principal, and the 138,600 is building interest.
Right, correct.
So, but I just would, on the detailed sheet, I wish they would identify what that is, because it's not, it's just debt due. It doesn't help the reader of the detail without the other sheet, and going back and forth is a little bit cumbersome.
Okay, I'll talk to her. That's good input. This is the first time Laurie has given us this and is willing to work with us for, any changes, like format changes that we need. So I'll work with her on that for more detail, to say what it actually was.
On the roll-ups, I have 3 points that I don't quite understand. What it says under revenue to actual as of 6/30/2020, it says that basically the 2020 actual to budget shows that we had $164,643 that were above and beyond what the budget was. Okay, and so I'm trying to figure out where in these sheets that excess money above budget, how that was handled in the accounting system. I don't know where that money was distributed to.
Okay, you're looking at the paper that has the three boxes. You're
Right.
looking at, you said expense budget to annual, or I guess they all say budget.
There's group 4, objective real estate
Oh,
surcharge.
okay, the revenue budget. I was looking at the one expenses. Okay, revenue.
No, I'm looking at the revenue, and we
Yeah.
had 164,000 plus in revenue above and beyond what was budgeted. So that means we had money that needs to be distributed into our various accounts, and I don't know where that's distributed to and who makes those decisions.
Okay, let me follow up with Laurie and Tony on that.
And so that's one question. Down on the next place, it says CPC expense budget to actual. That table down below, it says transfer to capital. But what were these for? I think I know what they were for, but I can't make them balance out with anything that I could deal with. So what were those transfer to capital for specifically? It's a lot of money. I don't know if that was for the Broad Street property that we purchased or something else.
Okay.
And then I don't see where the grant money was recorded as being received. Maybe we haven't received it yet, but I'd like to know where the grant money is. I don't find it.
Okay, let me follow up with those three questions for Laurie.
Yeah.
Okay, plus,
And I'm happy to sit on the phone with her at some point. I know she's busy.
okay, I'll let her know. Okay,
That's what I
Yeah.
figured.
okay. Any other questions on the finance reports? Okay, moving on, next do we have Jennifer here? Let me go back to our Zoom. No, we still don't have Jen here.
Well, I can explain quite a bit of that.
What are we looking at now? The policies?
We have, Gina, can I go ahead and try to explain it?
Yep, go right ahead. I'm sorry, that was my phone that rang, so I put myself on mute for a second. Okay,
To the committee and the public, when we voted the 12th to fund the church for 200,000, we failed to include in that motion where the money would come from out of the CPA accounts. So what we have to do is we need a motion to reconsider in hopes that it passes. If it passes, then we can move to amend that motion by adding where the account will come from. Then we have to vote on that amendment, and then we can vote on the funding appropriation account. I know it's confusing, but there's a series of motions that we have to do to stay within the proper bounds.
As Carlton said, it's a light of motions, just say add a funding source, but we have to stick to the protocol for it. So if we can have a motion to reconsider the vote on August 12th to recommend awarding the Congregational Church $200,000.
This is Carlton. I will make the motion to reconsider the vote of 200,000 in the hopes that it passes.
I'll second that.
Okay, that was Bill.
And just so folks know that all this is somewhat of a formality. I've tried to give the reasons up ahead of that, so I hope everybody understands.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion on that? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of,
Voice vote.
right. All in favor of Carlton's motion. Roll call, Josh.
Gina,
Yes.
Carlton,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Just, Carlton, I move to include by amendment the words that the funding will be appropriated from the historic reserve account as an amendment.
Second.
will-
Harry.
Actually, Carlton, can I just correct that? It's the term that's used on our financial things is historic preservation.
Okay, that's,
Historic preservation reserve.
I accept your friendly amendment.
Okay, we need a second to my friendly amendment, right?
No,
Second?
Okay, we got a second anyways.
Harry just needs to accept it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that was accepted. Okay, any discussion on taking it from that pot of money?
In the
Okay.
past, in the past, the policy I thought is that we use the reserve accounts first so that because they're set aside for this kind of thing. And we do have enough money in that account to cover the 200,000.
Correct. Correct. The last few things we've done, we've taken from undesignated, but we do have the money. And I think it's important for this one to show that it's coming directly from the historic preservation. Even though if we take from undesignated, when it gets reported to the state, it still shows that it was for historic preservation. But I would like to see this one coming directly from historic preservation. If that makes sense.
Yes, makes sense.
Yeah, because then we feel it's a historic.
Right, right. And even though the other undesignated still gets reported as historic, I still like to see it coming out of the actual, and especially for this application. You know, we just want to kind of stick to everything exactly, which we do anyways, but okay. Any other discussion?
Just as a point of information, do we have any discretion in moving money from one line to another within
No.
our budget? We don't?
Nope.
Okay.
We can do it. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Carlton, you probably know this. Once it's in there, I know we can just move the money once a year. We can put into the accounts. Can we also move at that once a year?
There is some language that I've read that says if your if your revenue stream is far outside of what you estimated to be, you can consider reappropriating money at mid-year.
Okay,
That's for
Okay.
discussion with the finance and another time.
right. But Bill, and short answer, no, you can't just move money.
Right, but also the part of that answer, if you don't have enough money in the historic preservation account, then you can draw from the designated fund. So you would have two account numbers in your recommendation.
Right, right. You couldn't move the money from undesignated into the historic preservation, but you could split the funding source between the two.
Yeah.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, all in favor of Carlton's motion to take the money from the $200,000 from historic preservation reserve? Roll call,
Gina,
yes.
Carlton,
Yes?
Steve,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Thank
Okay,
you.
great.
I move to I move to accept the recommendation as amended.
I second that. Steve.
Isn't that what we just voted on?
No, we just voted on the amendment.
Okay. but we voted to amend the original vote
Right.
from August 12th.
Right, but remember, we reconsidered the original motion. So we now need to vote on the motion as it was amended.
Oh, okay, okay, I'm sorry.
Nope, no problem.
Okay. Carlton, you just made a motion?
I made a motion, and I believe Steve seconded, that we would accept, that we would recommend $200,000 as amended from the account number.
Okay, discussion on that? Okay, what the motion is doing is basically,
We're
Just
just
making it-
revoting, we're just revoting the original
Right.
amendment as amended.
okay, roll call?
Gina,
Yes?
Carlton,
Yes,
Steve,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes,
Harry,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes,
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Okay, great. Okay, next thing is the town council recommendation letter to discuss and vote on. I just had a couple of minor things on that. If I can find my notes. Oh, one of the things on additional recommendation and key outcomes. Number 2, it said funds will be dispersed to the spending authority of the Central Square Congregational Church with Barbara Morey, Historical Church Restoration Committee Chair, as a project manager. The funds don't get dispersed to the spending authority. They get paid directly to the vendors. And I had sent that off to Anna.
yeah, we were hoping to have that on screen, but apparently Jennifer,
Yeah, I don't know what, I'm looking back.
I just saw she's on vacation, and I think she was going to try to join, and maybe that something's happened wherever she is.
Okay, I'm just doing a search to see if she sent me something. She actually responded to something for Jennifer Burke today and copied me.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that was just, they were checking invoices. Let me just see it further.
I just sent her an email to see if she's around.
Yeah, okay. Yep, that's all I have from her, except for last Thursday, she had written and said she was looking forward to us, and she can turn around any edits for Wednesday.
Let me ask if anybody submitted any changes to that letter.
I did.
Okay, and I also submitted some.
Okay, Carlton, while I'm pulling mine up, do you want to say yours?
Yeah, what I wanted to add to it is that under the project goals and eligibility, I think we needed to add a sentence at the end of, or a separate paragraph after the third paragraph that says, Community Preservation Committee voted on July 12th that the applicant the application did not violate the anti-aid requirements of the Constitution of the Commonwealth.
Okay,
great addition.
Critical that we identify that in this document.
okay.
Now, this is the letter from Gina to the town council. Is that what we're talking about, this short letter?
Right, it was actually written by Anna for me
Yeah,
to sign.
yeah.
Okay, so okay,
So that was the one suggestion, that we need to identify that we voted that it did not violate the anti-ADA requirements or amendment. That's in a nutshell, Josh. That's what I'm trying to make sure we're including.
okay.
And then another one that I had was under sources. It says Community Preservation Fund. I believe, as you just corrected me before, it should be the Community Historic Preservation Fund.
Okay,
Reserve account.
reserve.
Reserve, right.
Right, and my suggestion on that, to me, it kind of looked confusing because it looks like, I just suggested putting sources separate because it makes it look like, I'm trying to think my wording, hold on. Too many things here.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I'd like to just see it set out.
Well, what you can say in there is underneath uses, we could put CPA fund uses.
Yeah, because what I had written to Ann was, I think sources should be a separate entity, possibly under total application funding or total project cost, or sources for the total project or something similar for a heading. Having it listed under recommended funding to me could be confusing. I actually had to read it a few times to see that all that funding wasn't just for the, it makes it sound like it can be used for any of the purposes listed, or in the sentence that says, I'm reading what I had written to her. This last sentence in the paragraph above, that said the funding may be used for any purpose listed or implied below, and the funding could be used for the capital campaign, etc. Our funding can't be used for their capital campaign or any of those sources.
I see what you're saying.
So I think that the part that says sources should possibly be a separate heading. And I just gave suggestions like total application funding or total project cost. Because with that sentence, it looks like the 200,000 they can put it towards their capital campaign. I just like it clarified.
Good point.
Okay.
I think it should be, that sentence should be changed to preservation fund may be used for purposes listed, for the uses listed shown below.
Okay, maybe you,
Again, the last sentence under recommended funding, these funds should be appropriated from the Historic Preservation Reserve of the Community Preservation Fund and may be used for uses listed under uses. Yeah, too many used. And may be applied.
okay, applied to,
The uses shown below.
okay, these funds shall be appropriated from the Historic Preservation Reserve of the Community Preservation Fund and may be applied to the uses listed below.
Right, and therefore, then you have the sources and the uses, and I would say the uses should be CPA fund uses. That may help you out of the,
Okay, yeah, I just thought it was confusing that it looked like it could be used for any.
yeah. Yeah, what she's doing in that, or she's doing 200, but I think you could put a return after preservation fund 200,000, so it's separated.
Okay,
Also, the CPA funds would clarify. Again, this is all discussion, and we'll have to motion to accept these things.
Okay, yeah,
I have one more change on the second 3 of 4 under item number 3. Project manager will provide CPC with, it says regular updates, and I say quarterly because regular is undefined.
okay,
I would say with quarterly updates and a final, forget the upon request, quarterly updates and with a final in-person and written project report.
okay,
Okay, you got it?
yep. Okay, you want the rest of that
Well.
sentence in there, summarizing the projects planned versus actual expenses?
Say that again, I'm reading here.
Okay, we changed it to quarterly. Quarterly updates and with a final in-person and written report summarizing, you want the end of the sentence in there, summarizing the
All
project.
the best stays.
Okay. Let's see, what else did I have? Okay, we talked about dispersing of funds. Can we pay, this is probably a moot point because the cost of restoring the steeple is more than the 200,000. But can we pay, the police details are listed. Are we allowed to use CPA money to pay the town for police details?
I think the police detail would have to come from out of town.
Okay,
Otherwise, you're, I can't think of the word right now. Supplanting, that you're supplanting.
right. Okay, so I had the question on that. And possibly Barbara or Gordon or Terry, somebody can hopefully answer this. It was in the expense sheet. After some of the expenses, like repair to steeples, wood, fascia, it would be like 70%. Replacement of steeples, rake boards, 10%. What do the percentages mean? Hello, Barbara or Gordon, you still here?
Are we talking percentages of cost?
Yeah.
That's, I'm not sure. Gordon?
There was a
Rachel,
cost number and then
Terry?
it had a percentage. Yeah, it had a percentage.
Yeah, and I probably noticed it back then, but it was more where it was actually spelled it out. Could somebody from the church answer that?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that document, so I can't answer it.
Okay, it was the whole big, she took it right off of the whole big expense report that you folks submitted that showed phase 1, phase 2, phase 3.
Yeah, Gina, I actually went in and looked at all of those and did add up the costs for all of these elements that are listed under detailed uses.
Mm-hmm.
And those costs came out to 198,000 and change. So I'm not sure how to deal with what you're asking.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, it doesn't affect us, but I'm just curious on what those percentages mean.
Have we ever listed percentages like that in other
No, this
allocations?
came, Bill, this is taken right off of the estimated expenses. That's why I was asking.
I see, yeah, okay. Yeah, it is confusing.
Yeah.
But the detailed uses come from the sheet. And it's not, oh, I see, there is a steeple wood fascia, 70%. Replacement of steel rake boards, 10%.
Right. And I don't know what that 70% and 10% is.
Well, maybe 30% of the clapboards need to be replaced, but not all of them. Maybe it's talking about the percentage of the work that has to be done. Replacement of steeple rake boards. Maybe 10% of the rake boards need to be replaced.
That's my guess, that it's 10% of the total number of rake boards.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense.
And looking at now, the steeples wood fascia, I looked at it hard today because I spent the day in the town clerk's office, and I looked up there very hard, and I believe that 70% is talking about a lot of the fascia that's
Right.
damaged. I think that's what they mean.
Okay.
And
Okay,
flush siding, same thing.
Okay. Now that makes sense. Now, if this adds up to 198,000 and change that you said, and we're saying this is what $200,000 can be used for, what happens to the balance?
If they need a little bit more, that they can use that. I'm just saying as a budgeting number,
Okay.
it's about $1,500 that we're not accounted for. But I think that's not a big issue.
Okay,
Oh, no, I don't either.
yep. I didn't think
I
so
was
either.
worried
I was
about,
just
I was worried
curious.
about that we couldn't come up with 200,000, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And we did easily.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
So I would add two things. Under police details, I would put parentheses after not Bridgewater force.
That's probably standard operating procedure, though.
Well, you know, the sheriff's department comes out and all sorts of other people, but let's just make sure that we're not supplanting.
Okay, so not Bridgewater Police Force.
And one more point back up on item 6 and added recommendations. I have a question to the church. Is this steeple project, can it be completed by December 31st, 2022? Given that you're short money from what your total costs are?
It should be completed.
Because
Okay.
this implies that if it's not by December 31st, 2022, there's some kind of problem and you may not get all the money. And I'm just worried about it.
Yeah, okay.
Just put the expected project completion. Let's put expected.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. That gives us some wiggle room.
And that was number 6, right?
During the quarterly reports, they'll tell us if there's a problem developing.
Okay. And we have Jennifer's with us. She just came in, or
Oh, I'm not
actually,
gonna
I just saw
introduce
her.
myself.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm sorry I was late. My only excuse is that I'm on vacation and I completely lost track of time. And
It's all right. After that,
I was
told
actually
myself.
I was sitting there talking to my husband saying, "Yeah, I have this meeting tonight." And I looked at the clock and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, the meeting is now." So,
I think we've all been there.
okay, thanks. Yeah, my brain is in vacation mode already.
That's quite all right. I hope you're someplace fun.
Yeah, we're in the Berkshires at a friend's house.
Oh, nice. It's beautiful.
And I have been noticing that my internet is a little wonky, so I may cut in and out a little bit, but hopefully it'll be okay. But in
Okay.
terms of the expected project completion, the applicant, per the terms of, if they were awarded this funding with town council's approval, there would be a grant agreement, and the grant agreement would say that the expected completion is that December 2020. But if they needed more time, they would need to just request to the CPC in writing and, say why they need more time. And then the CPC would be able to, by vote, extend that time frame.
Great. So if we put the word expected, that covers that, right?
I think so, yeah.
Do we need to address, Jen, in the letter here? Do we need to address the grant agreement?
In this recommendation, I
Yeah.
think it's assumed because all of your private sector funding, all of the projects that are
Okay,
approved for private entities like the church or like the other private entities you've awarded funds to should all get a grant agreement as part of, that's how they access the funds, is through the terms of the grant agreement.
And we
Okay.
are actually working on more definitive grant agreements, and I thought we were working on specific grant agreement language, but we have to get through the town council before we actually get to that river.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right.
What we've done too, Jen, so far is just make some minor changes to Anna's letter that, like the accountant suggested under project goals and eligibility, just to put a sentence in that on August 12th, Community Preservation Committee voted that the application did not violate the anti-aid amendment. Then a couple of minor changes that I can just reach off in an email when we get off.
Okay. Great.
Just minor. And one of the things we discussed was, are we allowed to pay our own police department out of CPA money? Or would it have to be?
I heard you saying that and talking about supplanting. I would think that that's a, a relatively minor line item. I don't have the application in front of me, but that they could probably replace that with something else just to be safe.
Okay,
Yeah, and we're
Okay.
just saying it wouldn't be Bridgewater Police is all we added.
Hmm.
Because sheriff's departments, there's all sorts of groups that do that.
hmm But we also don't want the police union coming after us and saying it should go to Bridgewater Police first.
They can't do that. That's supplantation.
Oh, okay.
We cannot put money, out of CPA, you cannot take money that's intended for regular, well, this could be the issue, regular police work,
hmm
pay for it out of CPC.
Okay.
It's taking twice tax money to pay for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got it.
Isn't that kind of work usually done as an overtime by the police department?
Well, that's still a police department getting paid. Goes through their check. If it's, I don't know who signs a check, but if it's anybody in the town, that would be, to me, it would be supplantation.
You're probably right.
hmm
But we just want to be careful here. That's,
Okay. And I think that was it. That was for the,
well, we had those minor changes up in item 3 and 6.
and 2 also, that the funds won't be dispersed to the spending authority. They'll be paid directly to the vendors, contractors of vendors.
The town's going to pay directly to the vendors. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, that's what we always do.
Well, this is a reimbursable grant, and so we'll have to get the town to agree to that.
Okay.
We've done it before, but. but this-
Okay. Either way, I was thinking that in the case of for the expenses, depending how the bills come in, is the church going to have $80,000 to pay the steeple, to pay the staging
Just
that they
like,
pay? And we
just like-
reimburse them.
just like Old Bridgewater Historic Society, we did not have the money, or that society did not have the money to pay up front, and the town agreed to pay the vendor directly.
Okay, I thought I might be misunderstood, but I thought that's how we usually do it, is we pay the vendors, not the entity.
Typically, they're reimbursable grants. They're not just handed over to them to go off and spend. So,
Right, that's what I'm thinking. As the bills come in, we pay them. Which is what I was first on CP.
I put that's another grant agreement item, to put that in the grant agreement.
Okay. Jen, how is it usually done for something like this?
Yeah, most communities do reimbursement, like Carlton was saying,
Okay.
where the church would actually pay the vendor, and then they'd
Mhm.
show proof that they paid the vendor, and then you'd reimburse them. But I think, you can make exceptions, and, Carlton was remembering that the Bridgewater Historical Society, the town already agreed to make an exception for that because the private entity didn't have the funds to pay the vendor first and then get reimbursed. So
Right.
I think it's doable that way. And, like Carlton said, we would need to memorialize that in the grant agreement.
Okay, sounds good. I was thinking back to the Unitarian Church. When I can remember submitting bills from Brian Pfeiffer, but that was probably the same thing, that they didn't have the funds to.
Yeah,
To
that's
pay him
probably the
completely.
same thing.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Okay, so the others were just minor wording. Do you want us to tell you now what they were?
I think if you just want to email me in the morning, I
Okay.
don't want to take up the committee's time by rehashing something they already
Hey,
talked about.
that's just remember, I think the agenda closes at noon tomorrow, so.
At noon. Okay, yeah, I'll be working first thing in the morning if you want to get it to me. Or
Okay,
if you get it to me tonight, I can do it first thing in the morning.
Okay, I thought it was Wednesday, Carlton.
It's not, it's Wednesday, you're right. I'm already on Tuesday.
Okay. Well, either way,
Tuesday's
I
gonna
can
be a
do it
long
tomorrow
day.
morning. Yeah, either way, I can get to it tomorrow morning is no
Okay, I'll
problem.
send it off to you tonight because I'll be at the polls all day tomorrow.
Okay, great.
But if you have any questions, I'll be checking emails anyway, so just, shoot me back a message.
Perfect. All right, good, thanks.
Do we have
Okay,
to have a motion for this letter?
Yep, any other discussion on the letter?
No,
We do have to have a motion to make those
Yep.
changes.
Yep, I think somebody was just starting to make the motion. Do we have a motion to accept the changes for the letter?
I'll make the motion to accept those changes for the letter. Jean.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, was that you, Steve?
Yep.
Or Harry? Okay.
That was me.
Okay, discussion? Okay, all in favor of accepting the letter and send to the town council by the motion with the changes that were said? Roll call?
Gina,
Yes.
Carlton,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes,
Harry,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Church representatives, you're welcome to stay on for the rest of our meeting if you'd like.
Thank
If
you.
not, thank you for everything. We will get this letter to the town council in time to make their agenda for next week. Then I believe they send it off to their finance people, but just watch the council on their meetings, what they're doing. Okay, moving on, reorganization of the CPC. We have to reorganize every year. So we currently have a chair, a vice chair. I think that's it.
We're supposed to have a treasurer, but that's not because the town is providing the detailed work. I don't think we need them.
Right, okay. And we have Josh, so we don't need a secretary. Okay, nominations for chair.
Gina?
I
Carlton
nominate Gina.
I second that nomination.
Okay, other nominations for chair? Okay. Do we want to vote for that separate or just do like almost a slate? Not almost a slate for a chair and vice chair.
And do a slate.
Okay, sounds good to me. Okay, nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Carlton as vice chair.
Okay,
Second.
second. Okay, you got a few seconds for that. Other nominations for chair or vice chair? Okay, hearing none, we'll call it for a vote. Roll call,
Gina,
yes.
Carlton,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes,
Harry,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Thank you. The recommendation was approved.
Okay, great, thank you. And thank you for the vote of confidence for another year.
oh, you're welcome.
I think the CPC is making great strides this year, getting a lot done. Okay, next CPC process update and discussion. We've been working with Jennifer Burke and Carlton and myself on the process and policies. The document that was sent out to you is what is more for the town, or not town meeting like residents, but the
It's an
town,
internal policy statement.
right, and for CPC itself. It's not going out to it's not something that goes out with applications. So we've worked on it. You have the document. There's still a few things that are still under discussion with the finance department on how things are handled, invoices, reporting, things like that. And then on page 4, the yellow part, lines 8,
Yeah.
basically 8 through 22. I think that's all part of the part that's being under discussion with the finance. Did anybody have any questions or comments on this document?
I thought the title perhaps ought to be Community Preservation Committee Processes and Policies, because in the first sentence we say, these processes and policies shall apply to the CPC, blah, blah, blah. So I think it ought to be
Oh,
plural.
yep.
And expedite was misspelled. Doesn't have an A in it.
What line number?
I don't know. I saw it earlier. And
Okay.
I'm surprised the spell check didn't pick that up. Just a simple spell check. It has an A in there.
Okay, we'll find that one.
Yeah, you'll find that. Sorry about that.
Nope, that's okay. Anything else?
Anything we missed? Think about process and things that we should, as a committee, make sure we have written. Part of this document is set to inculcate for future members, somebody changes out on the committee, whatever, but it's meant to be a document that gets passed amongst the committee and on an annual basis. In my mind, and we're trying to do it, submission requirements, submission deadlines, electronic copies, that's an application issue. We did a lot of work on expectations, and if you don't have any now, I think probably next meeting, we'd hope to vote on it. But
Right.
if there are any expectations that people have that we've missed, please submit them, let us know.
The other question that I had was, are any of these processes as articulated in the document different from what you've done routinely in the past? Are there any changes here from the established procedure, I guess is what I was wondering about? Because there's a section where eligibility is determined before the application can go forward.
Yeah.
Did we do that? We didn't do that in this with the Congregational Church, did we?
Well, we kind of did. They came, it wasn't in writing, but they did come to us before they submitted their application and said, this is what we're interested in doing.
I see. I mean, I think that's a good idea, by the way, because we need to try to determine up front if something is really viable in terms of eligibility before we ask for, someone to spend hours and hours and days and months preparing the application, because only for that to be turned down. So I mean, I thought that was a good step, but I just wondered if we had been doing that in the past.
In the way past, it was done, and then, things slowed down a lot, and so a lot of that, but that was in the way past.
Yeah, I think that's
we don't have any actual written policies that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Right. And I can't, to be honest, I can't remember the original document that we started looking at. I'm sure I have a copy of it to go back. But we did work on the language in that. One of the questions that came up was, does that original first question of eligibility, does it come to us or does it go to the Office of Community and Economic Development? Because they basically ones that oversee the CPC.
We made the determination, right, Gina, that everything comes to us for the eligibility determination,
Correct.
whether it's a town project or whether it's a nonprofit or whatever.
Right.
The committee has that authority.
Right. Now, say something like recreation, who has come to us for fencing or a lighting. They've been a couple times for each, or Old Bridgewater Historical Society, say you wanted more of the same thing done that you just had done, would they still have to submit their eligibility? Because we know that those things are eligible.
Well,
Like
my
we can make-
opinion, my opinion is that every project is a standalone project. So yes.
Okay, okay. I just happened to think of that as we were talking about eligibility. Okay, any other questions on that? And what was the word, Bill, we were looking for that was spelled wrong?
Expedite, it's on page 2, line 40.
Okay,
Expedite.
and it's a real word, so it accepted it. Okay,
Just another point on the Part E, CPC actions. One of the things that we put in there is that no recommendation may occur at an initial public meeting. Example is we got a request from the rec department and had to make a decision then. And we need to have more time than one meeting. So we're putting that in as a recommendation may not occur at an initial public meeting.
mhm. Okay, and the other thing that we put in, Bill, or somebody making a,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just wondered, is a recommendation a requirement?
Absolutely. We recommend to the town council.
right,
No, but I meant the recommendation that the information come or be presented at 2 meetings. That's.
no, what
you
that's
just talked
saying,
about.
Bill, is, and maybe we can just add in recommendations on application recommendations or funding recommendations, something like that, just to make it a little clearer.
Okay,
It's a good point, because what that's saying is that we recommend recommendations for funding to forward to the town council may not occur at the initial public meeting.
I see. Oh, I see, yes. That kind
So
of-
we can just add a word into that, funding recommendations or something to that effect.
That's a good point, because if somebody puts a pre-app in, if we get it, oh, that's the other thing, all applications have to be in 2 weeks before a meeting.
Yeah.
So that we have time to review it and respond on it. And so in the pre-app, it might be that we could act on it in the first meeting, but the funding is clearly not at the initial meeting.
Right.
Right. Okay. And I think I'm trying to look for the section, but we put a deadline for things to be submitted to Josh and myself to be sent out. So you're not getting something on a Tuesday night for a Wednesday meeting. There are times that I'm sure we know that things are coming and we don't have them yet. But we did put the deadline in there.
It is, it's on page, I can't see the page number, but it says, no application will be reviewed or considered unless submitted to the CPC at least 2 weeks before a duly posted meeting. Supplemental information for the CPC's consideration may be required by the CPC after a complete application is reviewed by the CPC.
Yep. What page are you on, Carlton?
Say again?
What page you? Oh, I got it. Never mind. It's the top of page 2. I got it.
Page 2, yeah. And then it says CPC agendas close at 4 p.m. 1 week before the meeting date. All supporting materials and supplemental information required for CPA shall be submitted prior to that time. And if the information doesn't get submitted, then it won't be part of any considerations at the next meeting. So we're trying to tighten up a little bit in this place. We're trying to tighten up a little bit on terms of how things come into us.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a good idea. I'm noticing on page 3, CPC actions. That's a little, the word actions is a little confusing because I look at that list and everything's a recommendation. So should that be titled CPC recommendations?
No, because we can.
Action is a very general word. We recommend not funding too, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So that's why that's an action.
Yeah, I guess.
We don't recommend, actually, we don't recommend not funding because we don't send to the, if we determine something is ineligible or doesn't meet requirements or
Right.
for whatever reason, it doesn't go forward to the town council.
Yeah, it's the action word is used there because it's a must do.
I see, okay.
We must do funding recommendations. We must attach, so if you have a different word than actions rather than recommendations, but it's intended to show what the CPC must act on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Decision, I don't know. That's just a minor.
CPC decisions would be a good word.
Yeah.
I think that's better, decision.
Okay.
Good thinking. And then we have a sentence in there about town council's approval. The award letter, we're saying that we would work with the clerk of the council. The Department of the CED will issue award letters on behalf of the town council and CPC. Award letters will contain the funding amount, funding conditions, CPC and CED contact information, guidelines for project execution, reporting requirements, and a grant agreement as necessary, if necessary. I think we should get rid of the if necessary. Because I think the town thinks that they don't need a grant agreement, but I think we need an agreement. Because we are granting them money.
Mhm.
Where is that now? Sorry, I missed that. Where's that?
Line 37 on page 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see it. Yep.
Jen, in other towns, do they do grant agreements for a town award?
No, for a town award, it would just be an award letter, because you can't really have an agreement like that between one town entity and another town entity.
Okay.
It's the same thing as, it's similar to the fact that like you can't have a preservation restriction or conservation restriction on town property held by a town entity. It's the same thing. So you could just do an award letter. They look very similar, but it's just a different mechanism.
So it does say that's working cooperatively, See, the department, that's got to be fixed. Community Development Department will issue award letters on behalf of the town council and the CPC. Award letters will contain funding conditions. So we need to fix that paragraph. Let's not try to fix it here, but everybody understands there's an award letter for town entities and then there are grant awards. And we probably need 2 paragraphs there.
Well, I think the way it is fine, and just at the end saying a grant agreement if necessary. And that covers it, that for a town, you don't need it.
But it might be nice just to clear that up for other people who are reading this, where that may be confusing. If you didn't hear what I just said in this meeting, you might not know, well, when would a grant agreement be necessary?
Okay.
So I think we can pretty easily clear that up.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's take that. Because we're not voting on this tonight, let's take that as an action for this executive department. And
right. And one of the other things under discussion right now that we don't really have an answer for is who stores all the applications or award letters or grant agreements. The town is working on a portal for every committee and to have, and I use that phrase loosely, working on, because it's a work in progress. It's something for the future. Right now, we don't have it.
But the reason for that is that the Community Preservation Act language, as well as DOR guidance, talks a lot about our ministerial responsibilities, which is anytime you have to do this kind of work, it becomes ministerial, not just advisory. So what we're looking at under I is CPC must keep a record of recommendations to the legislative body and the specific action taken on them. The real critical thing is we need to record that the town council took whatever action they took. And that's why this is in here, because when I was reading a lot of the statute as well as DOR guidance, that it came very clear that we're a little bit incomplete in our record keeping. And to her credit, Jennifer said, why don't we recommend a portal so everything can come in at one place, and then that automatically gives access, that kind of thing. So that's what we're trying to do there.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Any other discussion on the processes and policies? Okay, if you read it, we'll continue. I believe
We'll take input. Gina, won't we take input until a week before or 2 weeks before the next meeting?
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. If anybody has, any other suggestions.
All
'Cause
right.
I don't think we have a date to talk to Jennifer Burke yet. Okay.
So generally, what do people think? I'm really, we've given you the 40,000 foot concepts. Are we on the right track?
Well, I think you've done yeoman's work here. This is very good. So I think we're probably 98% there. We'll
Great.
continue tweaking it. And as you say, it will be a very important document for new members. I mean, I'm still a new member, so I'm learning things as I go along as I read it. So it'll be very helpful.
Okay, great.
Okay, good. Yeah, so if anybody has any input, changes, corrections, thoughts, submitted to, I'd say just submit it to me and I can forward it to Anna. Or you can submit it directly to Anna and just copy me. But without telling Anna it's coming to her and send it to me. And
Well, we'll
Send it to
depend on
me.
Jennifer to convey that.
yeah. Okay. Next is CPC representative update. I can start for recreation that we have nothing, actually nothing's really changed. And I haven't talked to her. I'm actually looking for my last paper from Charlie Simons. The last we discussed it, he was still waiting to hear what was coming out with the capital expenditures for the town. Things that he does need to have done that have been put on the capital expenditure list, hopefully will be approved for the town. Pickleball courts, he may come to us for, I believe, for fencing around it, but again, that's all put into capital planning. So it depends what capital planning.
Just remember, just remind him, even though we haven't voted it, it's very advisable that he puts in a pre-application for a decision on eligibility.
Okay, I'll tell him. Okay, any
I know,
other, what was that, Carlton? I'm sorry.
I say he may not like it, but that's how we have to do business from now on.
He'll do it.
Yeah, I was just going to say these proposals from the Recreation Department are for new initiatives. They're not routine maintenance. Because when I saw the reference to the fencing, I thought maybe that was routine maintenance. But if that's a new type of court and they want a fencing around it, then that would not be maintenance, I guess. But
Right. What I was talking about was the pickleball courts that are being built at the senior center. There's
I
4
see.
pickleball courts going in there.
Yeah, and when you're looking at fencing here at Legion Field, this was protective safety fencing around dugouts that got destroyed in a storm. And so we funded that fencing for them to put up for safety purposes, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, any other representative updates?
I have just a few quick ones. The Jennifer, Anna, and James Walsh and I have been meeting up about looking at the Barstow House on And I've reached out to the town manager and to Susan McComb from the university just to see if they have any interest. And I'm having a hard time getting a response from them, but I'm gonna, like, we're meeting up again this Wednesday to kind of like have a follow up to see if there's any interest in the town looking at, has any interest in the building, or if the university has any interest. So that could be coming up pretty soon. Hopefully I'm gonna have an answer by Wednesday, so that when we meet, I'll have a little bit more information.
Steve, I have an answer for you right now.
Yep.
The owners, which I spoke with this weekend,
Mhm.
are not happy that there are conversations going on without their involvement.
Okay.
Who
They
isn't
are
happy?
not happy.
Sorry, I missed that. Who isn't happy?
The
The
owner,
owner.
the owner of the property, the
Oh, the
Middleton,
owner of the property. Uh-huh.
the owner of the property, I have known since they've been in town. And I mentioned the fact, and I asked if they knew anything about what was happening, and they said no. And I said, I'm sorry, but there are some things people are thinking about with your property. And I got a mouthful. So as I have said previously in meetings, it is inappropriate for us to talk about that property without engaging the owners. End of
So
story.
can I just jump in?
Yep.
So Jim Walsh, who was the person who I think attended your meeting a couple times, who was concerned about the historic, there's actually two
Right.
historic buildings being torn down at some point, and trying to get ahead of, there's not an active project there now. Maybe there's a way to construct some type of deal where the owners could be offered fair market value, so that they don't end up tearing down the building. There's lots of different ways to do that.
Unless that property
Um,
sells, the building's
And so
not coming down.
James did actually contact the broker, and I don't know if the broker, I don't know if the broker actually let the owners know that. I know that, typically when you're looking to see if you can buy a property, you do contact the broker first. But it would have been good if the broker actually did tell the owner that people were, potentially interested in buying their property. So that's as far as it's gone. And the question is, if you were going to try to save those buildings and offer fair market value to the owner, who would pay for that, and what would the use be of those buildings?
Mhm.
And so that's all that's going on right now.
Yes,
So James is really very interested in trying to figure out if there's a way to do that or not.
And I read,
It's
I
not fair
read-
to the owners.
what was that, Carlton? I'm
What's that?
sorry.
It's not fair to the owners to have not them be part of the discussion.
Well, if he's contacted the broker, then the broker should speak with the owner.
Right, then the broker's the one at fault, because as Jen just said, you contact the broker if you're interested in buying a piece of property. So I say that they should talk to their broker on why he or she
I will,
didn't let them know the interest.
I will convey that to them.
Yeah.
Yep, because I thought what Jen said, I was under that assumption that James had talked to the broker.
Right.
Then again, it's up to the broker to tell the people that they're interested, that somebody's interested.
And we in our process was just seeing if there was an interest on
Yeah.
our side.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
I will convey the information to them since the broker failed to it. And he may not have conveyed it to them because he knew the answer. And that's unfortunate also.
Right, right. But it's good to let them know that there was interest for something. Because they may not have been aware that, there could be something down the pipeline for it. Okay. Steve or Bill, I'm not sure who this would fall under, the town hall study. Anything new on that?
the last
Oh, that's not for me. No.
Oh, yeah, no, the last bit of information that I've heard on this was like slightly related to it on the 26th. David Moore, myself, and the chair of the sorry about that. David Moore, myself, and the director of the library were supposed to meet up to discuss display space. If there was some potential in the library, in the newer library, since we're losing a lot of display space in the plan. I unfortunately wasn't able to meet up at that meeting, so I need to get an update on that. But other than that, there hasn't been a meeting regarding the Memorial Library. So long story
Okay.
short, it's not much of information.
Okay, that's good. I was actually asking the town hall, but thanks for that update.
Yep.
For
Oh,
because
I'm sorry.
that
You're talking about the. I'm sorry. You're talking about the town hall, not the library. Yes.
no, but that's good because you already covered one. Now
Yep.
we'll just jump to the other one.
I guess yeah. No, and then the town hall. We're still waiting. As far as I know, we're still waiting to meet with the group that's doing the study. We haven't had that meeting yet, so that hopefully we're going to have the meeting on the town hall to review the feasibility documents, and that hasn't been scheduled yet. So I'm still hoping for that to happen soon, and I'm going to try to push that to make it happen.
Okay, sounds good. I was talking to someone today from Taunton and they said that their old, I'm not sure if it was their district court, but one of their courthouses in Taunton,
Mhm.
they weren't using as a courthouse anymore and they completely did it over as like a music center.
Yep.
Which I thought sounded interesting.
Yeah, the old district court.
Yep.
And very, very similar size building.
Yep. Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. Okay, thanks. Any other representative updates? Kevin, I was going to say for open space, but Kevin ended up having to work tonight. He had sent me a message. So how about conservation, Harry or Jean, planning board? Any news updates?
We're just going to be heavily involved at Styles and Hart, but that's mostly taken care of.
Okay, good.
Harry, can you talk to us a little bit about what the plan is? Because I've heard lots of odd things about it. And is there any likelihood of coming to the CPC for money?
Right at the moment, no. Most of it's going to be opening the trails back up that have grown back in, adding another trail going over to where Kitty wants to have a bridge going over across. So it's all still in planning, but we're going to start clearing the trails that are already there, making them wider and everything. Plus, waiting for the final papers on the 5 acres that we just got so we can put the parking lot in and put a gate in to stop the vehicles from driving all the way to the first quarry.
Is that, I guess the trail cutting is being handled by volunteers and town employees?
Yes.
And the parking lot, what's the plan there?
That hasn't been finalized yet, but we could use probably some help somewhere.
Well, that's my question is who's paying for it?
That I don't know yet. I
So
can always put in a grant through the Taunton River Stewardship Council. So
Yeah, but you also, CPC can fund that also. I believe we'd have to do an eligibility application. But don't forget, accessibility is a major piece on CPC supports.
Mm-hmm.
all right.
There were a bunch of, or I shouldn't say a bunch, there were some grants out there too for that could be used for that.
Yeah, I just saw something recently that went out of some kind of parks grant that just was advertised.
Yeah,
Oh, the parking at Titicate is wonderful.
it is very good.
How many cars did you get there?
We can get
You
in.
probably get 6.
Yeah,
Great. It's a great place to walk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Harry, Harry, has there been any discussion about the Titicate location with the Matakeesit tribe? Has that come up in any of your meetings?
No, but I was down there personally, and the person that is going around starting all this, to me, is not the person that he says he is. He's a relative. I've got the picture of the actual chief and a picture of him side by side, and it's not the same person.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you mind if you're able to email me that or not.
I will. I'll send it.
Absolutely, that'd be great.
They do need some signage up at Titicate though, so that,
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the
Well, so
sign
was I. I
as
was
you're
gonna mention
driving
that.
by.
The Boy
I don't even know
Scout is
where it
working on
is.
that now. He just finished the parking lot because it's a Eagle Scout project, and that's where I met the so-called chief of the Matakeesit tribe at Titicate, and I think I straightened him out because I told the Boy Scout to continue working on his project. So,
Mhm.
and is he,
and they came to the next night's conservation meeting. So,
Mhm.
but
Is
I'll
this-
send you the pictures, and you can see for yourself that it's not the same person. You can go right on the Matakeesit .com,
Mhm.
and you can see both of them.
Okay. I'll look at that because I know that I had they had reached out at one point to about the location, and I'll look at what you have because I've had some conversations with them.
Okay, I'll send you the pictures, and you can go on their website, and you can see him doing the same speech in Boston. And I don't know what the situation is, but to me, he's a relative. It comes right out on their website that Wampanoag is Wampatuck is a relative. So I'll send you the pictures, and it's a no-brainer when you look at both pictures.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Harry, is this site we're talking about off Beach Street in Bridgewater?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
They've been working on this since my kids were in Cub Scouts.
Well, there was
I read
there was a the name has slipped me, but there was a Eagle Scout a number of years ago that made a sign, did a lot of work, and actually he passed away last year. What's his last name, Jean?
Abaldi.
Abaldi, thank you. He did an Eagle Scout project way back when, probably about the time your kids were younger too, Bill.
Yeah.
Then it's just kind of gone into the signs in disrepair, but there are people that clear the trails. And I thought, other than a few trees that were down that were easily step overable, I thought the trails were very good.
Yeah,
But I agree with both of you. We need signage there desperately.
Mhm.
yeah, because the sign's all rotted.
Yeah.
So is that Eagle Scout doing a sign too, Harry?
he's doing all the signs over. That's what he's working on now.
Oh,
Great.
great. Very good. Good. And we also, Jean has organized a walking group to the senior center, but we'll actually take anybody, whether you're a senior or not. And
Yeah.
we walked the Auburn Street Bridgewater Preserve last week, and that's very nice. I had never been down there. And I know CPC did some to make that happen.
The Great River Preserve, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very nice
Great.
area.
Latolas gave that. Latolas gave that.
Yep.
And the Great River, yeah, that's the Latola property.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to jump back to recreation because I just pulled my paper from Charlie. And when I say Charlie Simons, the head caretaker of the fields. Things for the pickleball courts that will need to be done, fencing. which would be about $20,000 to $30,000. Take down some trees, wire underground for lights. They're looking at outdoor bathrooms, extending the bathrooms from the senior center out to make the bathrooms accessible from the outside. Those things, as I said, those are the things that need to be done. There is money that was already approved from capital expenses a couple of years ago that hasn't been spent yet, and I believe that was for the paving. So things that he's put into capital expense are these things here, but we'll see what gets approved. Jean, anything on planning board? They don't
Like what?
come to CPC for anything, so
No.
no.
What
So,
about housing? What are they doing with housing?
We're not doing anything with housing right now.
Well, that's something that probably ought to be discussed, but Jennifer Burke and the chair of that, because you guys have a heavy lift in the housing area in terms of responsibilities and the plans that are going forward.
Yeah, well,
The housing trust and
we're waiting for all the paperwork applications and such to come in for downtown, which would be housing.
is that going to be 40B or is that not going to be 40B? You know?
No, that's not, right now, no. I mean, they're building, Claremont's doing 40B up there, and Duxboro's doing 40B on Curve Street.
Has Duxboro started building?
I don't know. I haven't heard that he has, and I haven't driven up in that area.
I drive by and then I never remember to go in there.
Yeah, I by today, but I didn't want to go during business hours, figuring they get enough traffic for people.
I tried to get up to Jenny Leonard the other day. I drove back in that area and they've paved and are paving up in that area, but they haven't done much with it other than somebody cleaned it, I hear. But
Yeah, they cleaned out the Jenny Leonard Park. They took out all the swings and the remnants of the swings and the seesaws and stuff. But they did save the sign
oh, good.
Great.
over at the highway department.
is I don't remember what the agreement said. Are they? I know the owner one time ago had said that they would try to, maybe it would just clean up the park, but I thought they were going to help to restore it or do something with it.
Yeah, no, I think it was just clean up and get that stuff out. There may be some trails that go in there off of Latola's property, the development.
So I don't know who has that. Open space may have that responsibility or that. I'm assuming that somebody might come to CPC at some point to refurbish and restore Jenny Lynn from a perspective. I just assume that, but I haven't heard enough to know if anybody's going to take the bull by the horn and wrestle
Yeah,
it.
I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything either.
No, it's
Okay.
good to hear they cleaned it.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's good. It's a nice little area. It's too bad it went into such disrepair. Okay, active project updates. Last I had talked to Charlie, and this may already have been completed. The fencing was done, all except for there was one part by the playground on the street behind
Cottage?
Cottage Street. My mind's going blank on these things. There was one section there that still needed to be completed, but that may well be done now. And that was it. And
If I could go back to a comment Jean made about some housing plans for downtown. Where are you talking about?
The Friendlies in the bowling alley,
Oh, that area. Yeah, yeah.
that area, it will be business on the, mixed use
I see. Yeah.
is the plan.
Have you heard anything about what resubmission's going to be about
What,
that you can divulge?
what was that?
Have you heard anything about what's going to happen since it wasn't rejected, but the plan was totally incomplete, is what I understand.
We just have to wait for him to make sure that the plans are complete to bring it.
Okay. Thanks.
okay. Active projects, Steve has already told us about the memorial building. What's going on from the historic commission standpoint. I don't know, Carlton, do you know if they or anyone, Steve, if they've started actually working on the building?
No, I don't believe they have.
Okay, I didn't.
Well,
know.
they haven't come before the HDC, so if they do anything to the exterior, they have to come before us. We had
Okay.
preliminary meetings 2 years ago, but they weren't official. That we don't have an application for a certificate of appropriateness yet.
And the last I heard in a meeting that we had with Michael Dutton and Steve, I can't remember if you were there or not, but Michael Dutton had agreed to get something before the access board in terms of what was acceptable or not acceptable from accessibility. But he said he took a week to turn it around, and it's been more than a week.
Yeah. Okay, good. And I think those are the two projects that we had open. Okay, old business administrator CPC code change. Carlton, do you want to talk on that?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier in the meeting that I had been doing a lot of work in terms of what the do's and don'ts and the responsibilities of a CPC committee are in Mass General Law, as well as in guidance provided by DOR. And what I determined, and I think I've mentioned this before, is that the CPC right now in the administrative code of the town is listed as advisory only. But we have actual duties that we are responsible for, like maintaining recommendations, holding public meetings, tracking appropriations, monitoring spending from the funds. And all of those activities are defined in the administrative code as ministerial. So if you haven't looked at that document, there's three things that are listed. You're either advisory, or you're ministerial, or you are, what's the other word? Legislative. So the planning board has a recommendation. You have a fiscal responsibility. You have a lot of responsibility. I'm trying to think of the historical commission has responsibilities. So they're not just advisory, they have to sign off on things. And that's a ministerial role. And since we have that, I would like a vote tonight, unless people want more time to read it. But I would like to change, and I talked with the town attorney, and he said we are absolutely, in his words, oh, yes, you are. And I had asked him, are we a ministerial committee? And he said, oh, yes, you are. And so I put this together as a whereas piece to go to the town manager to put before the town council to amend the administrative code. And if you've had a chance to read it, I'd like to hear your comments. It's pretty long, but it's also my intent to try to document clearly what this Community Preservation Committee roles and responsibilities are in town. And what I did is I put in italics where actual either Mass General Law or DOR documentation is included. And if you've read it and are willing to put forward a motion to submit it, that's fine. If not, we can wait another month.
Okay, comments on it? Has anybody had a chance to read it?
No.
I haven't. I guess my only question is, why were we not designated as a ministerial committee from the beginning, from our inception? And the second question I have is, are other towns, are CPCs in other towns designated with the ministerial code?
That
I don't know if Jennifer or Anna's not here. Jennifer could answer that or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked at their other communities' codes.
it would only be under a city form of government. We are.
Okay, are we considered a city form of government?
Our
Yeah.
constitution, we are known as a city known as the town of Bridgewater.
Okay.
Well, I feel, I mean, Carlton's done his homework here, and if the town attorney sanctioned it, I don't have any objection to it.
He did give me just a verbal. He didn't give me a letter, but he did not give me a letter.
Okay, so we're looking to change just what's in italics, correct?
Yeah, the order is as the town add the term ministerial to the CPC's roles and responsibilities in the administrative code, ensuring consistency with Mass General Law.
Okay.
That's
Well,
the
you
order.
just read, I'm sorry, what you just read isn't on this document I'm looking at, right? That,
It's the last statement in a whereas document. You do.
oh,
whereas
okay, I got it,
as
yeah.
ordered.
Where is that? Where is the document? Is that in
It's-
the packet today?
I
It
couldn't
was
find
submitted in that packet before, yeah. If you haven't seen it, let's continue it to next meeting.
Yeah, because I haven't seen it and I don't see it.
Okay. Does anybody else need it? Jean, I'm just sending it to you now.
Okay.
Does anybody else need it?
You send it to me as well?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay,
If you could send it to me, Gina, that would be great.
Bill or Harry?
I don't think I
Do you
did.
guys have
Send
it?
it to me too.
Okay. So why don't we hold off on this till they read it and we'll discuss it more at the next meeting?
By me.
Oops. Hold on. I have to know how to spell to send it. Okay, I just sent it to Harry and Steve. Jean, I just sent it to you.
Okay.
I didn't get it, Gina, either.
Oh, okay, let me send it to you. Hold on.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was just looking through all the stuff that was attached here and I didn't see it.
Yeah, we had tons of stuff attached this time. Okay, there you go. So just Colin kind of summarized it, but take a look at it. As you said, the main sentences at the end, be it ordered. So take a look at it. We can discuss it more at the next meeting and take a vote at that point on it to forward it to the town council via the town manager.
I mean, we already have this authority and we're exercising it according to state law,
That's general
right?
law. Yep.
We're just cleaning it up a little bit, the designation.
Copter going over, I can't hear anything.
Yep.
They go
Okay.
awfully close to the roof.
Gina, I still didn't get it. It's come through. Oh no, I think I did.
It would be an email. I just emailed it to you.
Yep.
Okay. So how does that sound, Carlton? We'll take a vote on it at the next meeting?
I've agreed to continue it for sure.
Oh, okay, sounds good. Any new business? Okay, hearing none. Our next meeting is on. It's on, hold on. I can't believe this, tomorrow is September 1st already. The next meeting is Wednesday, September 23rd. We've been doing 6 o'clock, but I know that's hard for some folks that are working.
I'd like 6:30 myself.
Me
I-
too.
I really like.
And I
it.
can get supper in.
Yeah,
Me too.
me too. Except I have no excuse for not eating supper, other than I get busy with other stuff. Okay, so we'll start doing 6:30 then. So I think that's it, but to recap, I will shoot Jennifer off the changes to the letter to the town council. She'll make the changes, send it back to me, and I'll get it to the council before noon time on Wednesday. Then I'm going to follow up with Laurie Garini on a few questions that we had on our expenditure report.
Thank you.
And I think that's about it. If I forgot something, we're gonna ask input on the processes update to be submitted to Anna and myself. Other than that, I think that's it. I just want to remind, I guess it's new business, but remind everybody, if you haven't voted already, by mail or they're early voting, to make sure you get out and vote tomorrow.
7 to 8.
Yeah,
AM.
and that's not, that's 7 in the morning. That's an awful long day. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay. But
Jennifer,
other
great
than,
vacation. Thank you.
I want to
thank-
thank Jen for coming on to our meeting, especially during her vacation. That
Yeah,
was
no
very
problem.
nice.
No problem.
Yep, it was
Yeah, I
good. We-
forgot about it at first.
That's okay. As I said, we've all been there. Okay, sounds good. Motion to,
Done?
So moved.
okay.
Second.
All in
Second.
favor?
Roll call.
Oh, roll call. That's right.
Tina,
Yes.
Carlton,
Yo,
Steve,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
William.
Yes.
Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.
thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
You too, thanks.
Okay.